If you want to start your podcast, you need multiple things like an audio recording and editing software, you need a podcast hosting service, and you need some kind of distribution service that sends out your podcast to multiple different platforms to promote your podcast. And that is just so many things to do. But what if you can have one simple solution that has all that you require? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hey, what up, decisive marketers? We're going to be talking about HubHopper, right? HubHopper, and what HubHopper does is that it allows you to easily create a podcast, record your podcast, edit your podcast, distribute your podcast, create a website for your podcast, or have an embedded player, embedded into your own website if you already have one, right? And on top of that, you can have a team to edit your podcast for you, right? And that is just all in one. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, HubHopper. But before I dive into HubHopper, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like to see more digital marketing and e-commerce content, right? So here we go. So as I mentioned, right, HubHopper is like a full solution that allows you to quickly create and start your podcast without having to worry about so many things. All you need is HubHopper, and on top of that, maybe like a good microphone, a quiet environment, and you can start your podcast and start making money from it as well, right? So how HubHopper works, right? So the first thing, of course, you have your account settings. You can set up your profile right here. Okay, next is you might want to start creating your team and adding your team members into the HubHopper as well. Okay, and then you can start your podcast, right? Just click on create podcast, put in your podcast name, the host name, which is likely yourself, your description of the podcast, what kind of topics are you going to be talking about, right? Like society, government, fiction, history, true crime, whatever it is, right? And then any subcategories as well. What is the language, and if there's any explicit content, and the podcast type, right? Or your episode frequency. Okay, so is it going to be like one episode after another episode, or maybe you have seasons? Maybe you're going to do like 12 episodes and then you stop, and then you have another season where maybe you go into different kind of related content, or it's a serial, whichever it is, right? And then you would have your podcast created already, right? Next thing is just going into and starting your podcast. Your first episode you can record somewhere else and upload it into HubHopper, or using upload from your computer or your Google Drive, right? Or you can just click on record with HubHopper, and you will jump into the studio editor right here. Okay, and you can upload audios in here as well, like import audios. You can have multiple layers of audio, right? And then you can start recording. Okay, and as I speak, it's recording, right? It might not have anything because I'm already using my audio, my microphone right here. But here you go. This is like the recording, the clip that I have right here, and then I can edit it, I can move it around, I can duplicate it, like this. I can split it into multiple clips as well. I can remove it, right, like this, undo, redo, combine the clips together. Everything can be done right here. Okay, right? And then I can record multiple layers. Once I'm done, I'm happy, I can download the mp3 file as well. And then you can save the project. Okay, so once you're done, you have your episode ready. You can now start to distribute into the different channels. So if you click on menu, you can see like these are the podcast platforms that you can push into, like Apple Podcasts, uh, Podkicker, whichever. And then there's also automated where you can distribute it into your Spotify, Google Podcasts. It's going to be on HubHopper as well, and Amazon Music, Geo 7, I guess that's how you pronounced it, right? Like tune in, whatever it is, right? It's all like right in here. Okay, and these are automated, and then you can manually distribute them over here as well. It's like a simple process, and once you have your podcast up, you can see like the analytics of it, like how many people actually listen to your podcast, how many people stream your podcast right in here. Okay, right, and all like the analytics, like top hours, what kind of device are they listening to your podcast on, the locations, what kind of operating system are they on, what kind of player are they on, are they using any tracking, you can put in your own tracking so that when they play your podcast, it's being tracked as well. Okay, and then the last two things that I want to cover is, the first one is the microsite. Okay, because the microsite cannot be changed or updated, right? And I'm going to be using HubHopper for my own use, just that I have not thought about like what's the name of my podcast. Okay, so I don't want to kind of set it up right now. Okay, so you can use you can put in your website name, and then it will go like henry.hubhopper.com, something like that, right? And then you can, then if you want to have your own like site using the microsite, you can then configure the CNAME if you have purchased a domain. Okay, right, and then the podcast that you want to show on your website. If you have multiple podcasts, you can show that as well. You can put in your email, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all in there, right? And then once you're done, you have your microsite. I'm just kind of going to show you how it looks like. So this is an example of how it looks like, the microsite right here. Okay, and then on top of that, as I mentioned, is the podcast is also distributed on HubHopper itself, right? So if you go onto the website, click on listen, these are like the different podcasts that is on HubHopper right now, right? So if you click on this, right, there's like 6 episodes in here, right? So this is one of the podcasts, and you can listen it on HubHopper. So these are what other people have published, and if you want to have your own published on HubHopper as well, all you need to do is get your own version of HubHopper, and then your own copy of HubHopper, and then you can start using it and pushing it out to on HubHopper website itself. And then next is you have the embedded player. Okay, so this is what you use if you want to put it on your website, right? So if you want to put it on your website, you can do so with HubHopper. Okay, and then all you need to do is copy the embed code, paste it on your website, and you have the player in there, and everything is done, right? So pretty much that's all I have to share about HubHopper. I think it's a hassle-free solution. So if you want to start your own podcast, I think HubHopper is great for that purpose. It is more for creators, like podcast content creators. It's kind of different from other podcast solutions that I've talked about, because they are more like automated solution, or repurposing of content kind of solution, where maybe you have written a blog and then you want to convert that into the podcast. But HubHopper is different. So if you are a sort of a podcast first content creator, then HubHopper is very suitable for you. Okay, so I guess that's all I have to share about HubHopper. If you enjoyed this video, do give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Lastly, if you know anyone who could benefit from HubHopper, be sure to share this video with them. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.